Oh my god, you guys, this is Glitch, and this is a game that I already cast. I already cast it. It's not one that's posted on my YouTube page. Oh no, you will not find it there. Why? Because I left this video, or I cast it this morning, and I left it to upload here earlier while I went to work, and I came back to discover that the video was too long by like 20 seconds. 20 seconds, I think it was 15 something, 15, 20, 15, 30, something like that, and no, YouTube was not having it. I thought the video limit was 15:59. I thought anything over 16 minutes was no good, but I have now discovered 15 minutes is indeed the time limit for YouTube games for now, at least until I become a trusted uploader, which means that I've uploaded a lot of videos that are kosher and legal, and I haven't been posting TV shows and other things that I'm not supposed to be posting. So, this is a ZVP on Shattered Temple. Yes, this time this map is Shattered Temple. I did a previous cast where I called Crossfire Shattered Temple, but I recognize this time that this map, it has 4 spawn locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it is indeed Shattered Temple. And it is as I said, a ZVP between vileSpanishiwa and tQDanTe. vileSpanishiwa, I think you all know and love. He's a Zerg player that I watch a lot of, and I've casted a couple of games of. tQDanTe, though, is not a big well-known player. Not a name that I've heard before very much. He is from the team TQ, or Think Quick, which is a guild that I've never, or team, whatever you want to call it, that I have never ever heard of before. I've never heard of them. But this guy I looked up this morning, and he's a Grandmaster League player, so we should have a good, promising match for us here today on Shattered Temple. Fast expansion here going down by vileSpanishiwa. If I recall correctly, I believe he went 16 hatch, 15 pool. I think that is what I remember from my earlier cast of this game this morning. Oh yeah, that's right. Because of that, I'm going to have to speed this up a little bit. Alright, just a little bit of speeding up, no problem. Scout coming in here for tQDanTe. Standard stuff on the Protoss side of things. We've got a gateway up, Cybo Core coming up right now, lots of drones being built. Drone for Spanishiwa, scouting the haps. Not seeing too much, seeing that there is no expansion yet. It's getting more and more common these days for Protoss players to go Forge first and not use it to Cannon Rush, or they could use it to Cannon Rush and try to block this natural, but they've been using it to fast expand a lot against Zerg. Something that we have been seeing a lot on ladder. The Zealot is now out and dealing some serious damage to this drone. This drone not having it, gonna run away, might escape, might not. We will shortly find out. The base of Spanishiwa is also being scouted by a probe. Queen's now coming out onto the field for Spanishiwa. For those of you that don't know about Spanishiwa, Spanishiwa is a player who has become very famous recently for a no-gas style of play. Spanishiwa is known for doing lots of early defenses with just queens, spine crawlers, and slow zerglings. He gets a fast expansion up, and he gets it fully saturated. That is, well, a minimal fully saturated. They always recommend that if you want to fully saturate, you need at least 2 drones per mineral patch. So that, on a standard map, that means 8 mineral patches, so 16 drones for Spanishiwa. He tries very hard. Yep, 16 drones there. 16 drones will be here eventually. A couple of Zerglings now moving across the field just to do some scouting and killing that probe. Dante gonna try to deny any scouting information here from Spanishiwa by moving out and killing these Zerglings. Spanishiwa did not manage to get those away, so he did lose his Zergling scouts there. But that is alright. He now has these spine crawlers up, and he did get to see that Dante was going for a few gateway units here, and he saw that there were sentries. Sentries are usually a good indicator. If you see a Protoss player with sentries, it usually indicates that they are wanting to use their gateway on a unit, and in this case, a sentry. But they want to keep as many minerals as possible. They want to keep up their minerals, so they use sentries. Sentries take up all their gas while using very little minerals, and allows them to do things like expand or get more warp gates up. is worth noting here that there is an Overlord back behind the base here, so Spanishiwa, even though he might have been able to guess from the sentry count that there is an expansion coming up, he does want to confirm that, and he has done so, I believe, with this Overlord. I think with this Overlord, he hasn't quite spotted it yet. He will, though. Shortly, this gas, I believe, will go up, and he will know that there is a base there. He has decided to block his ramp now with queens. This is another good advantage of getting a lot of queens early, is you can block your ramp, especially if you're against Terran. This is quite nice to block off Hellions from coming up your ramp and doing a whole lot of damage to your econ in your main base. 4 queens there. That is a little on the excessive side, though, I think. I don't think anything's going to be sneaking up there. He has gotten some Spore Crawlers. I'm not sure what he saw that made him want to get Spore Crawlers. So far in his base, he has just seen a Gateway and a Cybo Core, and he's now seen that this expansion's up. Maybe he thought that, maybe he was expecting some early pressure from Void Rays or Phoenixes, but or maybe even Dark Templar. Since he didn't get to see up into that base, he might be suspecting some Dark Templar. So he has thrown down some Spine Crawlers to defend against any potential air units that, or DTs that might be coming his way. He does have an Evo Chamber down, and it is not upgrading anything at the moment. I would like to see some upgrades coming out of that, as Spanishiwa's gas count right now is pretty high. As for worker count, we can see that Spanishiwa is ahead, 43 to 38. This puts him a little bit ahead, gives him a good lead. He is on 2 bases. Dante just recently being on 2 bases. Spanishiwa is probably a little ahead in econ. Yes, you can see that on the econ. Spanishiwa is just a little bit ahead at the moment. Dante's struggling to get there, though. He's currently supply blocked, but he's doing what he can to get those drones up. Breaking down the rocks to his third. Spanishiwa not yet taking... I spoke just a little too soon. I think Spanishiwa is going to expand here for a secret expansion down at the bottom here. This is a good move. Something I love secret expansions. I'm not going to lie. If you ever see me on ladder, I probably have a secret expansion somewhere. Just anytime you see me, you can just assume that somewhere I have a secret expansion. I love secret expansions. They are so good. If your opponent hasn't scouted them, they completely throw your opponent off. They are risky, though. They are risky. If your opponent comes down here and scouts this and takes this out, you are then down a base, you are down a hatchery, and you're down an econ. So it's a risky move to make, and you have to just hope that your opponent isn't being that good about scouting all the other bases. Third now coming up also for tQDanTe. We see some upgrades coming down now for Spanishiwa. We see melee attacks as well as Carapace coming up. Some hallucinated Phoenixes now moving across the field, trying to get some scouting done. But that's about it. Also a hallucinated Void Ray, interestingly enough. Wait, did that? Interesting. If you didn't catch that, that hallucinated Void Ray started to attack the Creep Tumor, and Spanishiwa, thinking that it was a real Void Ray, actually canceled his Creep Tumor. Not much of a loss there. Sacrificed a little bit of APM. Dante scouting the obvious expansions for Spanishiwa. Typically, as a Zerg player, when you expand, you always want to expand far away. It's very common for you to see Protoss players expand towards their opponents. Terran players also will tend to expand towards their opponents. Why? Because they have armies that are very strong when grouped up. So they tend, on a map like Xel'Naga Caverns, to want to expand towards the opponent. That way they can just have all their units at the frontmost base, and this allows them to defend their bases as well as be in a closer position to attack their opponent. As a Zerg player, though, you tend to want to connect your bases by creep, and you want to be far away, and you want to use your fast units to dart back and forth between these expansions and be able to defend lots and lots of hatcheries and lots of expansions farther away, because you have very fast and very mobile units, so you want to use that to your advantage, and you don't want to be expanding towards your opponent. Now, Spanishiwa knows this, knows that most Terran and Protoss players know this, and that's why this secret expansion works so well, is that Dante, as you saw, was scouting the gold and was scouting this corner base, because these are the obvious expansions for Zerg to take. Spanishiwa hasn't even destroyed the destructible rocks at either one yet, and is reaping quite a bit of rewards from this third base. On the Harvester count, interesting, Protoss is actually way up in Harvester count right now. No workers killed yet, no economic damage dealt, but it is worth noting that, interestingly enough, Protoss is up in Harvester count. This is kind of interesting. Usually as Zerg, you always want to be ahead in Harvester count. but that is not the case at the moment. vileSpanishiwa is looking to do some economic damage, though, and has some lings here breaking down the backdoor rocks to Dante's third. On the production tab, we see, let's see what Dante's up to. I haven't actually checked what he's up to in a while. We have some Immortals now on the field, a Roblox facility, and a Stargate. We do have a Stargate, so we had some hallucinated air units before, but it looks like he wants to actually go for some real air units now. This is kind of an interesting move by Dante. Dante is kind of spreading his tech out a little bit. He does have Blink coming down here for his Stalkers. Anytime you spread out your tech this much, you're going to have a wide variety of units, but you're going to trade variety for strength of one particular unit. For example, vileSpanishiwa right now is going for lots of upgrades and speed and lots of upgrades for his Zerglings. So he's going to have very, very strong Zerglings, whereas Dante right now is going for a little bit more varied of units. He's going for High Templar, he's got some Immortals, and he's got a mix of Gateway units. So this means that he's going to have to devote more money to different types of tech. And this means that the units that he has are not going to be quite as good, but he's going to have a good variety of units. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when these two forces engage. vileSpanishiwa does have this Overseer that has been contaminating, as you saw that blink earlier, and slowing down the upgrades. And it's now coming in for the Scouts. He's lots of gateways, lots of warp gates here. So this is going to indicate to him a lot of gateway units. He has not yet scouted that Stargate, though. That Stargate is up, and vileSpanishiwa is not aware of that. This attack here on the destructible rocks was repelled by these cannons and these Stalkers, so no damage was done to this third, and still no workers killed. Oh, very nice. +3 melee attacks, +2 carapace attacks, and adrenal glands coming up for vileSpanishiwa. This is a style of playing that I love. Also worth noting, there are banelings in these overlords that are moving across the field right now. I love adrenal glands on Zerglings against Protoss. It really, really helps to take out those warp gate heavy compositions. Especially Stalkers go down very, very fast. Those adrenal glands gives you a 20% speed attack increase for Zerglings. And yeah, it just really increases the damage output of the Zerglings, so it allows them to do a lot of damage. Fourth now up for vileSpanishiwa, just now getting that saturated. Looks like he's getting ready for an attack. He has a few Corruptors on the field in case of any Colossi on the field, but there are no Colossi on the field yet, so these will actually be able to help deal with these Phoenixes, though, which that will be a rather nice. I don't know if vileSpanishiwa produced these because he's just assuming there are Colossus on the field, or if he's doing this because he scouted that Stargate. I guess that answers my question. He has not yet scouted the Stargate, so he is doing this because he is assuming that there will be Corruptors on the field. The Overlord's moving in with the baneling drops. Two actually moving in right now. The one at the front got destroyed, but one going into the third, about to do a lot of economic damage. Both at both bases. Oh my goodness, that is a lot of worker kills going down at both bases, and holy cow, 65 workers killed. That's a lot of workers killed. This is why baneling drops are so strong, ladies and gentlemen. Baneling drops deal so much damage so quickly before they can react, and you can get so many worker kills. 65 workers killed. That is going to pretty much force Dante to have to move out here and do some damage, because he is now way behind in worker count. 78 to 39 workers. Dante is going to need to come in here and do some serious damage, because he now just needs to drone up. He needs to get his workers going. He needs to get his worker production and his economy back up, as his economy is severely hurting right now. Aha! That is why he had the Corruptors up. He had the Corruptors up so that he could morph them to Broodlords. 8 Broodlords now on the field. That is a lot of Broodlords. Broodlords are going to do so well against this ground-based army, assuming these Lings and Corruptors, or Infestors rather, can keep this army pinned back and unable to deal damage directly to the Broodlords. Here comes the engagement. The Broodlords are a little bit farther ahead than I would like them to be. Zerglings and banelings coming in from the side, doing a lot of damage. A lot of hallucinated units on the field right now. Colossus hallucinated, and there were a lot of hallucinated air units at the front, but this army is just being decimated by vileSpanishiwa and vileSpanishiwa's Broodlords. So much damage went down. These Broodlords really just finished it off. Excellent play by vileSpanishiwa there with the baneling drops. Do a lot of economic damage, forcing the fight when vileSpanishiwa wants the fight. When vileSpanishiwa was maxed, I believe he was 50 food ahead at the beginning of that engagement. Well played by vileSpanishiwa. Excellent, excellent, well played. GG, everybody. Comment, subscribe, do whatever you need to do. I need to end this video now before I go too long again. So take care, everyone. GG.